People, a pleasant morning to everybody. Oh my goodness. They say 1 p.m. They say third term loading. It has certainly loaded 34 seats to 29, 34 for JLP and 29 for PNP. Congratulations are certainly in order to the Prime Minister, well, elect, and his team on such a victory, on such a feat. And I mean, I really not really surprised. I think many of us are not surprised, you know. And with a lot of the polling that went on, they said it would have been a close election, and it is closer than the last one, and which I'm happy for. I sometimes, depending on the situation, don't really like landslides, because we want the opposition to, they say mus fire their mus tail. We want to keep the reigning governing party doing what they're supposed to do. So you kind of need a little, sticking sometimes and so forth. So I'm certainly happy with the results. And, we look for better and bigger this year. I was sharing with somebody that in the last 2 terms that the Prime Minister and his team, Prime Minister-elect, you know what I mean, people, because eventually, he's going to go back in as Prime Minister. So if I say Prime Minister, just work with me. Is that when they started out, people, they dealt with it like from a macro level, dealing with themselves, the increases, dealing with the businesses and so forth. This time around, for me, that will show true governance, true leadership, is helping the small man on the micro level, but on a wide scale level. So the small man and woman must be able to feel it. We want to hear the civil service or the civil servants saying their salaries are good. They're not gonna, say that the salaries are great, but the civil servants need to say their salaries are good. Remember, I said to you that a politician of the said government had said many years ago before COVID that he had quoted the yearly figure, which worked out to about $500,000, that anybody earning the 500, they're barely scraping. I never forgotten it. I saw it, heard it with my own 2 eyes, 2 ears. So it's time for salaries to go up significantly. And too many underemployed people in the civil, service association, the public sector. Time for them to be properly employed. So we want to see the small, and I use the word small loosely, the small man, the small woman start to thrive, start to prosper, start to do well, that they're looked after. Because we see everything happening in terms of the roads, the buildings, infrastructure, and the politicians sorting themselves out financially in terms of the 100%, 200% increase, where, for example, if a councillor probably used to get 4 or 5 million a year, jumped double, or a double and a little. So we want to see these things happening for the civil servants, for the other public sector workers, and even private sector workers. We need to see that. We need to see it on a micro level, but on a wide scale. That is what we need to see. And I'm getting out with it now. We're not waiting, because it's not like, the Prime Minister and his team, they're not used to leading. This is their 3rd term now. You know what I mean? It's a feat. He's probably never believed that this would have happened for him. The youngest Prime Minister started being Prime Minister at age 39 it was, something like that, before 40. And still Prime Minister, and he's in his 50s. And he's in his 50s. Early 50s, thereabout. Right? Youngest Prime Minister, and still the Prime Minister from 30s to 50s. That's a feat. That's remarkable. That is something that many will not get. Many will not see. And whether you like him or you don't like him, it's still a feat. Congratulations are certainly in order. I knew that he would have, gone in again. It's just that we were wondering how the seats would. And I heard a political, they said that this person is a very known person, had said that is great with, they say he's great with polling and all of that. And funny enough, he had given, when they asked him, I remember the lady saying, "Sir, just answer and tell me who you think and how many seats, which of the sides." And for the other side, he said that they would have gotten 35 and, and the remaining to the current ruling party now. You have to be very careful. Unless God himself comes down and gives you that that prophecy. I can understand if out of your whims and fancies, out of your love for a party, you can call that, but you can't use polling, because remember that with the polling is probably 1,000 and odd people, and on the day of election people can just decide, say, you know what, I'm gonna vote the next way. You know, people are funny like that. And I say that because when I look at Anne-Marie Vaz, I'm shocked. People, I don't know if you are shocked. I was looking at the comments. Even PNP people say they say I'm PNP, but she should have won. I kid you not, I saw scores of things going down. And I saw, and I heard the pain in her voice, you know, when she said that she, you know, was helped to establish a whole movement of the buses coming here. She spearheaded that, she pioneered that, she and her husband and whomever else, and the roads. And from she has been in politics, since 2019. I've always seen her working because I follow her on social media. I've always seen, and she's bubbly and energetic. I can hardly believe it that she was not rewarded for the good work. I am floored. I am totally floored. Where some of the others who know that they're really not great as MPs have gotten through, I really can't understand how she lost in that area, you know. I heard it back in the day, it was a strong PNP, so I don't know, maybe they decide that they're just going to get at her. You know, it's, you know, but we have to be careful that we don't pluck out our 2 eyes, chop off our nose to spite the entire face. Because if somebody's a good MP, you vote for the good MP. I don't know. Jamaicans, the die-heartedness is going to really ruin a lot of people, you know. I'm not saying that you must be loyal, committed, and devoted, but if you see somebody really working consistently, it is really imperative that you give them that opportunity to continue their good work, if it is that they're like that, you know. I am very shocked, to say the least. I am very, very, very shocked. But it is what it is, my beautiful Jamaican people. The Prime Minister, congratulations are certainly in order again. And I didn't get to watch it last night. My heart was just, I was nervous. And 2, I don't know what was going on with Digicel, but the internet was horrible. I don't know what was going on with them. It was terrible. It was just buffering and buffering. You couldn't 7 or 11 with it, you know. It was just bad. It was just bad. It was very frustrating. And I said, you know what? I need to get some sleep this morning. I need to get some sleep today. So I just go sleep, wake, and then watch what. And just intermittently, if I get up, see what the news is saying and all of that. And then, from maybe about 9 minutes to 10, people were calling it for the Jamaica Labour Party. So, you know, they saw what was happening and all of that. And again, it's not surprising to many people. You know what I mean? For those who would have really categorically thought that the Jamaica Labour Party could not come in again, you must have been living on a different planet, or you have a drunken mind, you know, because the reality, it's 2 major political parties. I even looked at the scores. I was looking at the figures of, when they showed the figures of the different MPs that would have won or not win. And, when you look at the independent parties and the number of people who voted for them, kudos to them, because at least they vote and they really want a change. But it only tells a story that the Jamaican people are very, very loyal, committed, devoted, and die-hearted to the 2 major political parties. They're not switching. 10, sometimes it's 16. The numbers that you saw, you realize it's just a sad state of affairs in terms of third parties coming in. The Jamaicans are loyal, and committed to the 2 major political parties. I was just looking, I don't know if a number of people, when they're probably looking at the bigger picture, like who won, and, whether it's JLP or PNP for that particular constituency or area. But I looked also at the third parties. It is what it is. Guys, you know what to do with TikTok and YouTube. Subscribe, Give me one of those lions. Thank you.